Hello and welcome back to English Unlimited Podcast,
Hey everyone!
the place where we break down English for you, focusing on the real skills you need for actual daily conversations. I'm your host, Charlie.
And I'm Jamie. Good to be here.
So let's talk about something I think everyone has experienced, that conversational black hole.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean.
You're a B1 learner, you're feeling confident, you're practicing, maybe with a new colleague, and they ask you that super standard friendly question. How was your day?
And the brain just goes into autopilot.
Completely.
Yeah.
And you say, I'm fine, thank you.
And silence. The energy just drains from the conversation. It's like you've just politely closed the door on any further interaction.
Exactly. You've said something grammatically correct, you were polite, but then there's this awkward pause. And I hear this all the time from learners. They want to say more, they have interesting days, but they just don't have the right words, the right structure ready to go. So they just fall back on the safe option.
The conversation killer. I'm fine.
It's fatal.
You've hit on the core challenge. Because I'm fine is perfect English, but in a conversational context, especially casual small talk, it's a signal.
A signal for what?
It signals, I don't want to talk anymore, or I fulfilled my social duty, now we can stop.
Oh, wow. I never thought of it as being that strong.
It can be. So our mission in this deep dive is to equip you with everything you need to move way, way beyond fine. We're talking vocabulary, grammar, and even the architecture of a good conversation.
So you can actually turn that one sentence answer into a real connection.
Exactly. How to manage that social dynamic.
That sounds perfect. And just to keep you all listening through this entire deep dive, we've got a really interesting little pop quiz for you later.
Ah, a sneaky one.
It's very sneaky. We're going to look at why saying, I like reading, actually feels stronger and more permanent to a native speaker than saying, I like to read.
Ooh, that's a good one. That gerund versus infinitive distinction.
It always gets me. It feels like such a tiny detail, but you're saying it changes the whole feeling of the sentence.
It fundamentally alters the perception of your passion for something. It's subtle, but it is so critical for sounding fluent.
Okay, I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So if you want to be ready for that quiz, and if you want us to having better conversations today, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for English Unlimited Podcast and give this deep dive a like. It really does help us out a ton.
It really does.
All right, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Okay, so where do we even begin with describing our day? It feels like such a big topic.
We start with the engine, the absolute core of it all.
The engine.
The grammar. When you're talking about your day or your week or your life, you're basically just listing repeated actions, routines, habits.
Right. I wake up, I brush my teeth, I go to work.
Exactly. And the tense you use for all of that is the simple present tense. It's not just some basic grammar point you learn and forget. It is the core engine of daily conversation.
So you're saying this thing that we learn in, like, the first few months is actually the key to sounding natural in everyday small talk.
Indispensable. I like to think of it as a skeleton.
A skeleton.
Yeah. The simple present is the skeleton of your daily story. Every other detail, every adjective, every adverb, it all just hangs on that basic structure.
I like that analogy. It makes it feel solid.
When you say, I go to work every day, you use the simple present, and the listener immediately understands this is a fixed part of your life. It's the structure.
Okay, but here's where I think a lot of learners get confused. The simple present versus the present continuous.
The classic point of confusion.
Yeah. So, like, what's the real world difference between I go to work and I'm going to work? They sound so similar.
They do. Let's break that down. Let's use an analogy.
Okay.
Imagine a river. The simple present, I go to work, is the riverbed.
The riverbed.
Yeah, it's the permanent, unmoving structure. It's always there. The present continuous, I'm going to work, is the water flowing in the river right now.
Oh, so it's temporary. It's the action happening at this moment.
Precisely. The simple present is for habit, for permanent truth. I read books. That's a general statement about me. But if I say I am reading a book, it's about this specific book. Right now, this week. It's a temporary situation.
So if I said to a colleague, I'm going to work by bus, they might think, what?
They might think that's just for today or this week. Maybe your car is in the shop. But if you say, I go to work by bus, that tells them this is your permanent normal routine.
Ah, okay. The choice of tense signals permanence versus a temporary action. That's actually a really useful distinction.
It is. Now, let's talk about the single biggest. I'd call it a red flag in B1 level speech.
Uh-oh. What is it?
The third person singular rule.
The doist.
The dreaded is.
Okay, wait. I know this is a rule. Come on. If I say, my son wake up at 6:30 instead of wakes up,
Yeah.
people understand me. It's not a big deal, right? Why is it so crucial?
This is where we have to stop thinking about grammar as just rules for being understood
Okay.
and start thinking about grammar as a social signal.
A social signal. What does it signal?
You're right, you are understood, but consistently missing that depth instantly signals to a native speaker that you're still grappling with the absolute basics of the language.
So it's not about comprehension. It's about competence.
Competence, exactly. Think of
Yeah.
it like a professional chef who's cooking an amazing meal, but they keep leaving the faucet running.
Ah, okay.
The food is still delicious, but that little mistake makes the whole operation seem a bit unprofessional.
I see. So mastering that little less isn't just about being correct. It's about showing the listener that you have control over the language's core structure.
It instantly elevates your speech from understandable to accurate and fluid. It's
Yeah.
a small change with a huge impact on perception.
Okay, fine. You've convinced me. I will pay more attention to the little f's.
It's worth it, I promise.
So we've got the skeleton, the simple present. What's the next layer?
The next layer is precision, temporal precision.
Temporal, you mean like time?
Exactly.
Mm.
You need to locate your actions in time. You do this with adverbs of frequency. They make your description sound so much more natural.
And these are things like always, sometimes, never.
Right. We can split them into two groups. The first is adverbs of indefinite frequency.
Indefinite meaning general, not
Yeah.
specific.
Exactly. They give you a general sense. They exist on a scale from 100%, which is always, down to 0%, never. And in between, you have usually, often, sometimes, rarely, and so on.
And the most important thing here is where you put them in the sentence, right? I feel like I mess this up sometimes.
The placement is key for The standard rule is that they go between the subject and the main verb.
Okay, so I usually check my email.
Perfect. Subject, I, adverb, usually. Verb.check. We rarely go out.
Subject, adverb, verb, got it. What's the exception? I feel like there's always an exception.
There is. It's the verb to be.
Right.
When you use a form of to be so, am is are, the adverb comes after it.
So not he always is on time.
Exactly. That sounds a
Yeah.
little bit awkward, almost poetic. You'd say he's always on time.
Before the action verb, but after the be verb.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a clear rule.
It is. Now, there's a bit of flexibility with some of these. Words like sometimes or occasionally.
Right, you can put those at the beginning of the sentence.
You can, and at the end. And the reason this matters is all about emphasis. It changes the feeling.
How so?
Well, if I say, I forget my keys sometimes, with sometimes at the end, it feels like an afterthought. The main point is that I forget my keys.
Okay.
But if I start the sentence with it, sometimes I forget my keys. Can you hear the difference?
Yeah, there's more weight on sometimes. It's like you're pausing to think about it. It sounds more reflective, I guess.
That's the perfect word for it. You're signaling that you're considering the habit itself. It's a really powerful, subtle tool for changing the tone.
I like that. Okay, so that's the general indefinite group. What about the other one?
The other group is expressions of definite frequency.
Definite. So specific. Countable.
Precisely. These are phrases like once a week, twice a day, every morning, or on Tuesdays. There's no ambiguity.
You said once and twice. I've always wondered about that. Why don't we just say one time or two times? Is that wrong?
It's not wrong. People will understand you.
Mm-mm.
But it sounds very mechanical, very basic,
So once and twice just sound more natural.
much more natural. They're the high frequency choice.
Yep.
After 2, we go back to numbers. 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. But for 1 and 2, it's once and twice.
Good to know. And the placement rule for these? Is it the same?
It's simpler, but it's stricter.
Okay.
These phrases can only go at the beginning or the end of the sentence, never in the middle.
So I go to the gym twice a week,
Perfect. Or every morning, I drink a glass of water.
but not I every morning drink.
No, that really disrupts the flow of the sentence. You think these phrases are like little time information packages. They have to frame the main idea and not interrupt it.
That makes sense. They feel separate.
Yeah.
And when you say something like on Mondays with an S,
Yeah.
that means every Monday, right?
You got it. It's a common shortcut. I have my team meeting on Mondays. Everyone understands that's a recurring, predictable part of your routine.
Okay, so we have the grammar frame. We have the time markers. Now we need the actual words, the vocabulary to describe the routine itself.
Yes, we need to load that frame with the good stuff, the things that make you sound like a real person, not a textbook.
So moving beyond, I wake up, I brush my teeth.
Far beyond. We need those fluid, high-frequency phrasal verbs and idioms. Things like hit snooze
Guilty.
or roll out of bed, which implies you're moving really slowly.
Also guilty.
And then, splash some water on my face, put on my makeup, get myself ready, all those little phrases.
Let's focus on one of those. Let's do a deep dive on make my bed.
Good choice.
So here's a question. Is make my bed the same as prepare my bed? Could I say in the morning I prepare my bed for the day?
That is such a good question because it gets right to the subtle difference.
It sounds a bit weird to me, but I don't know why.
It's weird because prepare my bed usually refers to what you do before you sleep.
Oh.
Yeah, like you might turn down the covers or put a hot water bottle in it or arrange the pillows just right. That's preparing it for sleep.
Right.
Making the bed is exclusively the task you do after you get out of it. It's the act of tidying.
So the definition is specifically about smoothing the sheets, pulling up the blanket, making it look neat after sleeping.
Exactly. It's a post-sleep activity.
Okay, let's do the example looping on this. Give me a few different contexts.
All right. Let's start with a formal one. You're talking about a fancy hotel. You could say the housekeeping staff is trained to make the bed perfectly to create a welcoming atmosphere for guests.
Okay, very professional. Now, a casual one.
Casual. This is probably how you'll use it most. Ugh, I was running so late this morning I didn't have time to make my bed.
Totally relatable. How about a funny or weird example?
A funny one. I've heard people say, if I make my bed, it looks so nice that I don't want to mess it up, so I feel like I can't get back in it for a nap.
Huh? I've definitely felt that. It's like you've created a work of art you can't touch.
Exactly. Now, a historical or cultural one. In the military, it's a famous part of discipline. A good soldier makes his bed first thing in the morning as their first task of the day.
Right. It's about starting the day with order and accomplishment.
Which leads right into a philosophical take on it. Some people believe that the simple act of making your bed can lead to a more organized and productive life.
A tidy bed, a tidy mind.
That's the idea.
Wow. Okay, that's a huge range for such a simple phrase. Let's try to put it into a role play. Little scene.
Okay, let's do two roommates. One is neat, one is not so neat.
I'll be the messy one. You can be the disciplined one.
Sounds good. I'll start. Hey, have you been in your room at all this morning? It was almost 10 o'clock and your bed was still totally unmade.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. I had a really hectic start. Did you already make your bed?
Of course I did. It takes 90 seconds. We
Yeah.
talked about this. A well-made bed just makes the whole room feel cleaner.
I know. But honestly,
Yeah.
if I make my bed, I'm just going to get back in it tonight. What's the point?
The point is starting the day right. Look, I'll tell you what. If you go make your bed right now, I'll do the dishes from last night.
Deal. I am on my way to tackle that duvet as we speak.
Perfect.
That felt really natural. I noticed you used unmade bed in that first line.
Yeah, that's a really common collocation. We use unmade as the adjective. And we also talked about a well-made bed. You can also talk about the making of the bed as in the process, but that's less common in everyday chat. Mostly it's just make my bed.
Got it. Simple, but with a lot of depth.
Okay, so this next part is really the core of our mission today. It's about how to actually answer the question, how was your day?
Moving beyond good or bad.
Way beyond. The key is to give the other person something to work with, something to ask a follow-up question about, so we can group our days into 4 main categories.
Okay, so before I even answer, I should think, which type of day was this?
Exactly. Type 1 is the ordinary day.
Which, let's be honest, is most days.
It is, and it's okay to say that. You just need the right vocabulary. You'd use words that focus on predictability, usual time, routine, nothing unexpected.
So I could say something like, it was a pretty ordinary day, really. Woke up at my usual time, did my normal work routine. Nothing special happened, but it was calm.
That is a perfect answer. It's honest, it's descriptive, and it closes the topic politely without being abrupt.
Okay, what's type 2?
Type 2 is the opposite, the hectic day.
The stressful, busy one.
Yes. This is where you want to use descriptive, almost dramatic language. Missed my alarm, had to rush, it was a non-stop day. And you can also describe the consequences.
Like, it was so hectic that the dishes are still piling up in the sink, and I know I'll be staying up late to finish work.
Exactly. Now you've painted a picture. You've created a mini story.
And then vice questions.
Yeah.
Oh no, why was it so nonstop?
That's the goal. You're giving them a conversational thread to pull on.
Okay, so ordinary, hectic. What's type 3?
The quiet day.
The best kind of day.
The relaxing, non-rushed day. Here, the vocabulary should focus on mood and a lack of activity. Peaceful morning, sat on the couch, felt lazy, spent time alone.
So I had such a nice quiet day. I just felt lazy, sat on the couch with a book. It was exactly what I needed.
Perfect. It tells the listener about your emotional state and what you did to recharge.
And the last one, type 4.
The special day. This is for when something unusual or surprising happened.
Not necessarily a birthday or a holiday, but just different.
Right. A lucky coincidence or an unexpected event. The key vocabulary here is about surprise. Out of the blue, ran into an old friend, a lucky break.
So you could say, my day started out pretty ordinary, but then out of the blue, I got a call from my cousin who was in town, and we ended up having lunch together. It was a great surprise.
And now your conversation partner has a ton of things to ask about. Your cousin, the restaurant, what you talked about. You've opened the door wide open.
I love those 4 categories. It's such a simple framework. I want to zoom in on the language for the hectic day, though.
The language of chaos.
Yeah. Let's take the word hectic. What's the real difference between saying my day was busy and my day was hectic? They feel very similar to me.
This is a fantastic distinction to make. It really shows a higher level of understanding.
Okay.
So busy can be neutral or even positive. It just means you had a lot to do. You can have a busy but productive and satisfying day.
I had a busy day at work, but I got a lot done. That feels good.
Exactly. Hectic, on the other hand, almost always has a negative feeling attached to it. It implies that the busyness was stressful, disorganized, and maybe overwhelming.
So hectic has the idea of chaos baked into it.
Yes. The feeling of being out of control is key to the word hectic.
So busy is productive, but hectic is surviving.
That's a great way to put it. So the definition of hectic would be full of intense and often chaotic or rushed activity.
Let's try to put that into a little narrative. Show me how to use it with some of its common partner words, the collocations.
Okay. Let's imagine you're describing the week before a big project deadline. You could say, oh man, this whole week has been absolutely hectic. My hectic schedule meant I was in back-to-back meetings all day. I had to keep up a really hectic pace just to avoid falling behind. It was a really hectic period at the office, and honestly, by Friday, I felt like I had barely survived the day.
Wow, that paints a really vivid picture of stress. And you used hectic schedule, hectic pace, and hectic period.
Those are 3 of the most common collocations. Using them makes your description sound much more natural and powerful.
I also loved, I barely survived the day.
It's a great phrase for when you're just completely exhausted.
It's very evocative, isn't it? And just a quick note on pronunciation from that little story. A word we often use when talking about hectic days is rush hour.
Right, the stressful commute.
Remember that with compound nouns like this, the stress is almost always on the first word. So it's R-U-S-H hour, not rush hour.
R-U-S hour. Got it. That small stress change really does make a difference in the rhythm.
So now let's flip from the language of chaos to the language of surprise for those special days. I love the main idiom for this, out of the blue.
It's a great one. The visual is so clear, a clear blue sky, and then suddenly something appears.
So the definition is basically completely unexpected.
Suddenly and entirely unexpectedly, without any warning. That's the key. It contrasts with a planned surprise.
Let's do some examples to see how it works in different situations. How about casual one?
A casual example. I hadn't spoken to my best friend from high school in years, and then yesterday she messaged me out of the blue.
A classic unexpected message.
Yeah.
Okay. A more formal or professional one.
In a formal business report you might read, the new regulations were announced out of the blue, giving companies very little time to prepare.
It emphasizes the lack of warning. Got it.
Right.
A funny one.
A funny one. I was just walking down the street and out of the blue, a pigeon landed on my head.
Okay, that's definitely unexpected.
And you could use it in a historical context, too. The peace treaty was signed out of the blue, surprising analysts around the world.
So the key nuance is that it has to feel like it came from nowhere. I couldn't say, I planned a surprise party for my friend for 3 months and I threw it for him out of the blue.
Exactly, because you knew it was coming. The phrase is used for events that feel universally spontaneous.
Right. And when that surprise involves meeting someone you know, there's another classic phrase.
What a small world.
An exclamation to say, I can't believe I ran into you here.
It emphasizes the sheer coincidence of it. Let's try a full dialogue with this one. I'll start. I'll be Meg. You be Julia.
Okay, sounds good.
Julia, is that you? I can't believe it. What are you doing here?
Meg? Wow. Hi. I live just around the corner. I had no idea you ever came to this neighborhood.
I'm just visiting a friend. This is crazy. I haven't seen you since that conference in Chicago 3 years ago.
I know. Seriously, what a small world.
It really is. You know, that's so weird. I was just thinking about you the other day.
No way. See? What a small world indeed. We have to grab a coffee and catch up
I
properly.
love that.
That felt very realistic. And it shows how you can use the phrase multiple times in one conversation to keep emphasizing the surprise.
Mm.
It's a really social bonding kind of phrase.
It is. It creates an instant shared experience.
Okay, so to really take our descriptions to the next level, beyond just the 4-day types, we need some more colorful language.
Yes. Idioms that describe the feeling or the flow of the day.
Things like smooth sailing or a roller coaster. Let's start with a nice one. It was smooth sailing.
I love this one. The metaphor is so clear.
A boat on a calm sea.
Exactly. So the meaning is that the day or project went easily. No problems, no unexpected difficulties, no drama.
Okay, but how is that different from saying it was a picture-perfect day? I feel like I might use those interchangeably.
Another great distinction. So picture perfect suggests that everything went according to an ideal plan. It focuses on the successful outcome. Smooth sailing focuses on the process. It's about the lack of difficulty or struggle. You could have a day where you didn't actually achieve very much, but if there were no problems, you could still say it was smooth sailing.
Ah, so it's about the lack of friction. That makes sense.
Exactly. Now, for the opposite, it was a roller coaster.
You don't even need to explain that one. The image is so strong. A day of ups and downs.
Rapid emotional or situational changes. Let's walk through a scenario to really show it.
Okay.
Imagine you're describing your first day at a new job. The morning started out great. I loved my new team. That was an up. But then at lunchtime, I spilled coffee all over my new boss.
Oof. A definite down.
A huge down. But he was really nice about it, and we ended up having a great conversation, so that was an up again. But then I found out the main project I was hired for was canceled.
Another massive down.
That whole experience was, without a doubt, a roller coaster. It's the perfect word to summarize that kind of volatile day.
Yeah, it's so much more efficient than telling the whole long story. What are some other good ones?
Well, there's I went with the flow, which is great for a day where plans changed and you just adapted easily.
No stress, just accepting things as they come.
And as we mentioned before, for those really tough days, the dramatic "I barely survived the day," it really communicates that the struggle was real.
All right, this is a huge part of the puzzle. We've learned how to give a great descriptive answer, but how do we make sure the conversation continues after that?
We have to shift from just providing information to managing the interaction. And it starts by recognizing that small talk is not just empty words.
It's important.
It's vital. Some studies suggest it makes up about a third of all adult speech. It builds rapport, it builds trust. You can't get to the deep conversation without going through the small talk first.
And the number one strategy is
Ask open-ended questions,
never ask a question where the answer can be just yes or no.
because that just puts you right back where you started. You are trying to force the other person to elaborate.
So instead of, did you have a good day?
Mm-hmm.
Which invites a yes or no.
You ask, tell me about your day. You can't answer that with yes. You have to describe something.
That one little change in phrasing makes all the difference. What are some other really safe, reliable, open-ended questions?
I have two favorites. The first is, what was the best part of your day?
Oh, I like that one.
It's great because it forces them to think of something positive. It immediately injects good energy into the conversation.
That's brilliant. And the second one?
If it's a weekday, asking about the future is always safe. What are you up to this weekend? Or got any fun plans for the weekend?
Right, because weekend plans are usually a safe, neutral topic. People like talking about their hobbies or plans to relax.
Exactly. It requires a descriptive answer, and it avoids any potentially sensitive topics like money or politics or personal problems. It keeps the conversation light and moving forward. Now, within a conversation, you often need to make requests, and politeness here is absolutely key.
This is where direct translation from another language can get you in trouble.
Big trouble. Let's do a deep dive on one of the most important polite phrases in English. I was wondering if...
Okay, spotlight on this one, because honestly, it always felt a little strange to me. It's so indirect. Why not just say, can I ask you something? It's so much simpler.
That is the perfect question. And the answer is all about the social function of the grammar, not the logic.
It's social function. Okay.
When you say, can I, it's a direct request in the present moment. It can feel a little demanding, like you're putting the other person on the spot.
Right. It requires an immediate answer.
But when you say, I was wondering if, you're framing the request as a thought you had in the past. This was something I was thinking about earlier.
Ah, so it creates some distance.
It creates distance. It makes the request feel less urgent, less bold, and much, much softer. It gives the other person more space to say no without feeling rude.
So the definition is basically a polite, indirect way to make a request by framing it as a past thought.
Precisely. Now, let's tackle the confusing grammar part. You have to use the past tense for the verb that follows. I was wondering if you wanted to get coffee. Not want. Why?
Yeah, that's the part that feels illogical. The desire is now.
Think of that second past tense verb as another layer of the politeness shield. By pushing the desire itself into the past, you're making the request feel even less current, even less real, and therefore even less demanding in this present moment.
It's not a logical tense, it's a social tense.
You nailed it. It's grammar used for social effect. Let's try a role play where the request is sensitive. You're an employee asking your boss for a day off at the last minute.
Ooh, okay. Maximum politeness required. I'll start. Excuse me, give a second.
Sure, come on in. What's up?
Well, I know this is very short notice, and I do apologize, but I was wondering if it would be possible for me to take this Friday off.
Friday is a pretty big deadline day for us.
I know, and I thought about that. I was wondering if I could work late tonight and tomorrow to get my report finished ahead of time.
Okay, I appreciate you thinking that through. I was wondering if you had considered who would cover your morning presentation.
Yes, I was wondering if Sarah might be able to step in. I've already prepared all the slides.
Okay. Well, let me think about it. Thanks for being so professional about this.
Who?
Who?
Okay, that felt much better than just saying, can I have Friday off?
Worlds better. It sounded respectful, and it showed you had considered the impact of your request.
Another quick one for politeness. Could you give me a hand?
A great phrase. It means, can you help me? Usually with something physical.
And the key here is using could instead of can.
Yes. This applies to almost all requests. Could is just a more polite, more indirect form than can. Can you pass the salt is fine. Could you pass the salt is just a little bit softer and more polite, a very easy upgrade to your speech.
So we've started the conversation well. We've been polite. How do we keep it going? Sometimes after the first question, I just run out of ideas. My mind goes blank.
This is where you need a system, not cleverness. You don't have to be a brilliant conversationalist. You just need a simple structure.
I love systems.
The system is the 5 W's.
Who, what, where, when, why.
That's it. Anytime someone gives you a piece of information, you just mentally run through the W's to find your next question.
Okay, let's try it. Let's say my friend tells me I just got back from vacation.
Okay, run the W's.
First one that comes to mind is where. So, oh, amazing. Where did you go?
Perfect. They answer, we went to Spain. Now what?
Okay, next, W. Who? Cool. Who'd you go with?
Great. They say, I went with my family. Next.
Why? Why did you choose Spain? Or maybe when? When did you get back?
See, in 30 seconds, you've turned their one statement into a whole conversation with 3 or 4 follow-up questions, all by just using that simple system. It shows you're listening and you're interested.
That's so much less stressful than trying to invent a clever question on the spot.
It takes all the pressure off. And one more thing about keeping momentum, don't be afraid to disagree.
Oh, this is a big one. A lot of learners avoid it because they don't want to seem rude or start an argument.
Exactly. But if you only ever agree, your conversation can feel a bit flat. The key is to have some polite phrases ready to go.
The conversational buffers.
The buffers. Always acknowledge their point first. Use phrases like, I see what you mean, but, or, that's a good point, however.
Okay, let's try it. You tell me you didn't like a popular movie, and I'll politely disagree.
Right. I just saw that new superhero movie, and honestly, I thought it was pretty bad. The story was so predictable.
I see what you mean about the story being a bit simple, but I thought the action scenes were absolutely incredible. I was on the edge of my seat.
Perfect. You didn't say, you're wrong. You said, I understand your point, and here is my different perspective.
It changes the whole dynamic from an argument to a discussion.
And that's the secret to maintaining interesting, long conversations.
Okay, just as important as starting a conversation is ending it.
Yes, the graceful exit. You don't want to just turn around and walk away.
Or just say bye and leave an awkward silence.
We need some smooth, friendly phrases to signal that the conversation is over. Things like, that sounds good, or it was nice chatting with you.
Let's do a deep dive on what feels like the most common one I hear, especially in American English. Have a good one.
Ah, yes. the king of casual farewells.
So why that phrase? Why not just have a good day? Is it just cooler?
It's not about being cool, it's about being versatile.
Versatile.
Have a good day is great during the day, but what if it's 7 p.m. or Friday afternoon? Have a good one. Works for everything. It's a non-specific good wish. It can mean have a good afternoon, have a good evening, have a good weekend.
So the one just means whatever period of time is coming next.
Exactly. So the definition of have a good one is a friendly, casual, and universally applicable farewell.
And it is very casual.
Very. It's the standard thing a barista says to you, or you say to a colleague at the end of the day. You would almost never use it in a formal business meeting or a very serious situation.
It's a clear marker of an informal, friendly interaction. Let's do a quick role play. Two colleagues leaving the office.
Okay. I'll be packing up my desk.
All right, I'm heading out for the day. It was good working with you on that project.
You too. We made a lot of progress. I'll see you tomorrow.
Sounds good. Have a good one.
Thank you.
See, that felt so natural. And I also used I'm heading out as a reason for leaving.
Yes. Giving a reason for the exit is another great strategy. Well, I got to get back to work or I need to go pick up my kids. It cushions the goodbye and makes it feel less abrupt.
We've covered the words, the grammar, the strategy. But there's one more layer.
The music of the language.
Intonation and stress. How we actually sound.
And this is so important because it's how we convey emotion and intention. Sometimes it's even more important than the words themselves.
Okay, so we know the basics. Rising intonation for a yes-no question when you're really not sure of the answer.
Right. Are you coming? Your voice goes up. And falling intonation for a why question. Where are you going? Your voice goes down.
But let's talk more about stress, specifically stress in compound nouns.
This is a huge clue for fluency. English is a stress-timed language, which means native speakers listen for the stressed syllables to understand the rhythm and meaning.
And a compound noun is just two words that act like one word, right? Like post office.
Exactly. And the general rule is that the stress goes on the first word.
So it's birthday party, not birthday party.
Precisely. R-E-S, hour, B-U-S, stop, post office. When you stress the first word, you signal to the listener's brain this is one single concept. If you stress the second word, it can cause a tiny moment of confusion.
I think I do that sometimes. I say bus STOP. I need to retrain my ear.
It's just a matter of practice and listening for it. But of course, there are exceptions.
Of course.
Especially with food. Listen, mashed potatoes, roast beef, lemonade.
Oh, yeah. The stress is on the second part there. Why?
It's often because the second word is the key piece of information. It's not just any kind of beef, it's roast beef. The second word specifies the type, but the general rule for most compound nouns is stress on the first part.
Okay. And what about using stress for emphasis?
Emphasis, stress. This is how you add emotion. You can stress an adjective like, really? I'm really excited for this weekend. That adds so much more feeling than just, I'm excited.
Or you can stress the little auxiliary verb like we heard in the role play earlier.
Yeah.
You always did have good taste.
Exactly. Stressing that did confirms the truth of the statement in a really strong, positive way. It's a fantastic tool.
These are such great tips for sounding more natural.
But there's one final, really important warning.
Okay.
Cultural awareness.
Right. The rules of small talk are not universal.
Not at all. The topics that are safe in the US or the UK, like asking about someone's job or their weekend plans, might be considered too personal or inappropriate in other cultures.
So asking about salary or age or marital status.
Can be a huge social mistake, even if your grammar is perfect and you're trying to be friendly.
So the absolute rule is know your audience.
Always. Before you ask a question, especially to someone from a different cultural background, just take a second to ask yourself, is this a safe topic? If you're not sure, stick to the universal safe topics. The weather, food, and general non-personal future plans. That will keep you out of trouble every time.
All right, it's time for one of my favorite segments, where we look at those common mistakes that are so easy to make.
Those subtle errors that separate an intermediate speaker from an advanced one.
Let's start with the one you teased at the beginning. I like to read versus I like reading. They both seem correct to me. What is the real difference in feeling?
Okay, this is mistake number one. Confusing like to do versus like doing. And you're right, they are both grammatically correct, but they feel different.
How so?
The gerund, the ing form, like doing, implies a deep, continuous, habitual enjoyment. It's part of your identity. When you say, I like reading, you're telling me this is a real passion of yours.
Okay, so what does the infinitive like to do imply?
It can feel more like a specific preference or something you think is a good idea, but maybe not a deep passion. For instance, I like to read for an hour before I go to sleep. That's about a specific habit. Or I like to eat healthy food. That's a general preference.
So if I'm talking about my love of hiking, a real long-term hobby,
Uh-huh.
I should say, I love hiking.
Yes, that communicates the passion much more effectively than I love to hike. It's a very subtle but powerful choice.
Wow, okay. That's a great tip. What's mistake number 2?
Overusing too much to express positive feelings?
I hear this all the time. A learner will say something like, I love my dog too much.
Exactly. And they mean to express a very strong positive emotion.
But that's not how it sounds, is it?
No. In English, the word too almost always has a negative connotation. It implies an excess, a problem.
So when you say I ate too much cake, that means you feel sick.
Right. So if you say you love your dog too much, it subtly suggests your love is a bit unhealthy or problematic.
So what should we say instead to show really strong positive feeling?
Simple. Use so much or very much. I love my dog so much. That is purely positive, purely natural.
That's a huge one. So 2 equals excess or a problem. So equals a high degree. Got it.
Final mistake. An overly formal response to thank you.
Let me guess. You are welcome.
You are welcome.
I was taught in school that this is the correct and only response.
And it is correct. But in casual, everyday situations with friends or colleagues, it can sound quite stiff, formal.
It's not what a native speaker would usually say to a friend who says, hey, thanks for the coffee.
No. In that situation, you want to use a more relaxed, friendly phrase. The most common ones are no problem, don't mention it, or happy to help.
Those definitely feel more casual and modern.
Using one of those instead of you are welcome will instantly make you sound more integrated into the natural rhythm of casual English.
So save you are welcome for more formal situations.
Exactly. It's about matching your level of formality to the situation.
Okay, I think I'm ready. It's time for the pop quiz.
All right, you and everyone listening, let's see what you've retained. 3 questions.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Question number 1, on grammar and nuance. You want to express your continuous, strong, long-term passion for running. Which sentence is better? I enjoy running, or I enjoy to run.
Okay, we just talked about this. For a continuous, deep passion, you need the gerund, the ing form. So the answer is, I enjoy running.
That is absolutely correct. Perfect.
Phew. 1 for 1.
Question number 2 on acoustics. You are looking outside, you see the sun is shining, and you are sure the weather is nice. You turn to your friend to get them to agree. Which intonation do you use on the tag question, the weather's nice today, isn't it? Rising or falling?
Okay, if I'm sure and I'm just expecting them to agree with me, I don't need to ask a real question. So my intonation should fall. There would be a falling intonation.
You've got it. Rising intonation would mean you were genuinely unsure. Excellent.
2 for 2. Come on.
Last question. Question number 3 on vocabulary. Which idiom means that everything went easily, without any problems or struggles? It was a roller coaster or found day. It was smooth sailing.
A roller coaster is full of ups and downs and problems. So the answer for an easy, problem-free day is definitely, it was smooth sailing.
3 for 3. Perfect score. You are officially ready to move beyond I'm fine.
I feel ready. Let's do a quick summary of the biggest takeaways.
Okay, the top 3 concepts we learned. First, the simple present is your skeleton for daily conversation, and mastering that little third person as is your ticket to sounding competent.
Second, open-ended questions are your best friend. They are the engine that keeps a conversation moving forward.
And third, the music matters. Paying attention to stress and intonation is what makes your English sound truly natural and fluent.
And what about the top words and phrases we should start using today?
Our top 5 words and phrases. Hectic for those chaotic, stressful days. Out of the blue for any wonderful surprise. I was wondering if as your go-to polite phrase for making requests.
Have a good one for that perfect casual goodbye.
And for when you need it, I barely survived the day.
I love that one. Okay, now for your challenge.
Your micro challenge. For the next 3 days, just 3 days, I want you to make a promise. When someone asks how you are or how your day was, you will not say fine or good.
No matter what.
No matter what. You have to use one of the 4 day types, ordinary, hectic, quiet, or special, and give just one specific detail. That's it.
That is a fantastic, actionable challenge. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like and subscribe to English Unlimited Podcast.
Thanks so much for joining us and working on your English today.
I'm Charlie. See you next time.
And I'm Jamie. Bye.